Hello, board members. How are we doing this fine Thursday afternoon? Well, I hope, as it is Tactical Thursday, we're going to be returning to the world of Citizen Sleeper, which we are deep into the DLC of at this point. Okay, evacuate the eye or protect the eye. Help peak plan or help evacuate the eye. Alright, so we do have a second option. We've got 12 cycles to do it in. Peak needs a plan to protect the eye from the Shadow Protocol before the next Flux events. Okay, so what does that entail? Okay. Pilgrim prep. The Pilgrim Seed will take the majority of the evacuation off the eye, but is there enough time to settle them all? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, so that's 12. So we can, in theory, get that done in 6... with 6 dice, depending on how it goes. We're not going to be able to get 6 in this one go. Pilgrim prep condition. We have energy. Okay. Obviously, this is going to be the better option for us. So what do I need to do for this? Okay. Devise a strategy. So we got devise a desperate plan. Peak is desperately looking for a way to combat both the coming Flux event and the Shadow Protocol infecting the station. Because entirely analyzing the Flux data, I need your help. Okay. So it looks like this is the one if we want to come up with a save the station plan. Which, that's fine. We can knock this out. What is this? Plus 2, 2, 4. Okay, 6. So we can do this with 3 dice then. Let's do this. Okay, we only got 2 off of that. That's fine. Okay, we're gonna reroll these 2s and 1s. A 6, and a 3. Yes. Awesome. Okay, boom. I'm gonna save that 6. We'll use this 5 because we only need 1. A desperate plan. Done. Alright. Peak beckons you over to the wide mess table where they have set up... I don't like that description. Set up a terminal. The hours of bleary-eyed work have left you both drained, and Peak looks ready to collapse. You slide onto the curved couch beside them, something dark and malevolent filling their screen like an oil stain. Let's see. Stay silent. I'm sick of looking at this thing, the Shadow Protocol. I'm sick of looking at this thing. Look again. Peak eye seems to glitter in the screen light. This isn't what you think, Sleeper. Not by a long shot. You look again at the screen, leaning in close to the dark curved shape to see its texture. You see it whirls and currents like a river. A dark flow, unlike the Shadow Protocol's dark tangle. You know exactly what this is. You have swum in this river, almost drowned in its shifting flow. It is the Gardener's Chorus. The dark cloud which blankets the Greenway's networks. The bioorganic morass of a malfunctioning protocol grown vast and strange. The Gardener. I know this place. The Gardener. Peace glances at you. How do you... They pause. Have you met them? I have. Peak shakes their head. Incredible. Then perhaps you won't be surprised by what I'm about to propose. Peak meets your eye. Everything I have tried to do to contain the Shadow Protocol has been a failure. It slips through any containment, absorbs any countermeasure. That, unfortunately, is an unavoidable fact. Yet the eye still spins. The Shadow Protocol is being slowed. It's partially contained. It's spread across the station as we have seen, but in reduced pockets and fragments. So I started to look outside of our test cases, outside of those fragments we have been poking and prodding in our little lab. Peak smiles, and look what I found. Peak takes a key of their terminal and taps a key on their terminal and realizes this. And you realize the screen is showing a recording of the data flow inside the eye's networks, sampled from hundreds of points around the Greenway. You watch as a subtle shift occurs at the edge of the flowing dark curve that blankets the Greenway. Something spreading like an ink stain. Somehow the darker than dark it bleeds across. The Shadow Protocol. Now watch. Peak eagerly points at the screen. You see something strange, fizzing at the edge of the shadow. A sparking, and then it is gone. And beneath, for a moment, a millisecond, you see into the network of the Greenway. You're reminded of an image you had forgotten. Pulling a plant from its pot and seeing a bone-white root ball where you expect to see a dark soil. The white connection wraith writhed like worms, and then it is gone, the dark flow closing up as quickly as it was open. It dissolved the shadow? Exactly, Peak notes. It protected itself. Think back to your meeting with the gardener, to that sense of something old and horrid, and inhuman to its core. Peak instinctively starts to explain. This is the only chance we have, the only countermeasure we have seen. And the moment it opened, I detected something, a centralized intelligence of the local ID Gardener. This protocol, this system, whatever it is, can protect its network from the shadow protocol. But if it stays in the Greenway, the eye will still fall. The station systems are too exposed, too spread across the hub. The shipyards, the spoke, Peak glances away. The only way is to break it open, to spread the entity's network across it, expand it somehow. Peak pauses. You want to let the gardener out? I've been inside there, Peak. Peak pauses, trying to read your expression. And this gardener, can they help us? I'm trying to remember what the strange being said to you, but all you remember is the feeling of dissolving into the network. The heady mix of growth and decay, the ceaselessness of it. Would they protect the station, or would they simply dissolve it? I don't know. Peak stands up and walks away a little. They lean against the countertop, their head hanging so low that their long hair touches the work surface. Touches the work surface. You hear them breathing deeply. I don't know, Sleeper. They lift their head. I really don't know. It's a chance. Maybe. They shake their head. You know as well as Peak that this is it. You know it's because over the past cycles you have run every simulation, every possibility you could think of, and still come up with nothing. You stared a hole into your screen and dreamt of that black shadow creeping at the edge of your vision. Peak recognizes the look in your eyes, the potent cocktail of resignation and anger. Let's say we do this, Peak begins, eyeing you carefully. What do we do? What do we need? They begin to answer their own question, thinking out loud. I suppose we need to do two things. Find a way to limit or control the gardener's spread, and then reconnect the Greenway. Peak starts pacing. The idea is coming quickly now. Controlling the spread means preparing the station. Limit the gardener's network to key systems. We don't want it taking everything. We just need it to protect the station's core functionality. Then we need to reconnect the Greenway, hook it back to the main line of the network. Those systems we prepared, they should connect, and the gardener will spread along the path we prepared. At least that is the theory, Peak grimaces. If we don't prepare correctly, the gardener might not spread, or it might spread to everything. Peak closes their eyes. And after that, things might get worse. It can't get worse than a total collapse. Don't say it, Sleeper. Peak sits back at the terminal and brings up a map of the eye. Rotational control at the hub, life support, the free spoke, power routing at the Havingen shipyards. They stab at the map with each one, marking them in red. Then there's the central core. As I understand it, is somewhere on the rim. I need to find it. They push their hair out of their face. Then there's the central core. As I understand it, is somewhere on the rim. We see the gardener in all these places. Peak pauses, but how are we going to do it? Transplant the Greenway or bait the gardener's attention? I think transplant the Greenway? Peak smiles. Of course. The gardener needs plants to care for. That is what their protocol dictates. They must have been part of the farming management system of the Eye back when Solheim built it. We need Greenway plants in those systems, and the gardener will seek them out, protect them. Peak stares at the map of the Eye. It's a wild idea, but it could work. But, they pause, we'll need a way into those systems. Havingen have most of them locked down for safety purposes. We can't just walk in. I know a guy. Peak raises an eyebrow. Someone in the Havingen systems team? You nod. After everything he dragged you through, you feel like Fang still owes you. Time to pay him a visit. Okay, well, Pete looks at you sideways. I guess we should pay him a visit. Lead the way. You both leave the ship, carried forward by the excitement of the plan and an eagerness to not look at the details too closely. You push any lingering questions to the back of your mind. Time to head to Fang's Bay. Okay. Think I know what just happened there. That's fine. Yeah, we gotta head to Fang's Bay, huh? Climbing Briar. Is there anything else I need to do here before we leave? No? Okay. We have 1/6 left to throw at whatever we need to do next. Let's go talk to Fang. I don't know if he owes us, but we at least know him and we can get the ball rolling on this. And he seems as eager to keep this place alive as we do, so... Fang's Bay. Fang's bay. A difficult man. Fang isn't in his bay, and no one in the office upstairs seems to know where he is. Your lone clue is an out to lunch note. Fang is both never where he says he'll be and always late. While this is no surprise, now is not the moment for wasting time. I bet he's already working on this. He keeps his hands and stuff pretty tightly. Okay. A difficult man. Okay. I mean, we have the money for this if we need to. Probably shouldn't be wasting those, but if we can do this first, then we can get the other thing ready, because the other thing isn't on a timer, or it doesn't seem like it's on a timer. So, all right, we're gonna need some food or something tomorrow or next cycle. A 6, a 6, a 5, or a 3, a 4, and a 1. That's a pretty good breakdown. Let's go see if we can find Fang. Interesting that this is considered risky. Okay. If that's the case, I think what I'm gonna do. I can't really afford to throw that 1 at something. I need to save it for a reroll. So I'm just gonna buy food. It's incredible stuff. Okay, that's fine. I just want the energy in case something fails. I don't want to take damage. I can't afford to be chasing that too, you know. Alright, come on, positive. Hey, we got there. Alright, that's it. No more wasting time, Peek sighs and pulls out their slate. Crack open a box on the side of the base shutter and wire the slate to what's inside. Maybe your friend has a Havigen Pass card or something inside. Peek shoots you a glance. Something they wouldn't mind if we borrow. Fine, but be quick. Peek nods without looking up. I'm going as quick as I can. For a few tense moments, the shutter jerks and begins grinding up, and the noise making you jump. Let's get inside. Peek glances around quickly. You slip into the dark of the bay, punctuated by the blinking lights of the Fang's piles of servers, somehow even more disordered than before. Pete makes a beeline for the desk at the center, scattered with tools and components, to flick on a lamp and stare at the mess. Are you sure there's a person that can help us? You're a little disorganized. Yes. You're interrupted by the sound of footsteps from the entrance. Someone has come in behind you. Pete freezes. I could swear I closed the shutter when I left. Fang leans on a stack of servers near the entrance. Must be getting forgetful. He grins at you. Where were you? Fang gives you a look. A hello would be nice, especially given that you and your, he grinces at Peek, accomplice seem to be busy rifling through my things. Fang raises his eyebrow. Thought you'd come and rob an old friend, is that the plan? We need your help. Fang nods. You're here about the flux? Peek nods and is suddenly giving Fang their full attention. Fang smiles, pleased with himself. I guessed as much. I saw changes in the old system's architecture almost immediately. Some of them have been running since the first days of the station. So when I saw new patterns, shifts in logic, I knew something must have happened. These past cycles, I've been doing a total inventory of the core systems. From the hub to the rim, he grins. I'm surprised myself, to be honest. I didn't think I had it in me. Peek seems unamused. And what did you find? Fang sighs. That's the thing. There's something, all twisted up in the system's protocols, but every time I look at it, it disappears, Peek finishes. Fang turns to you. Do they always do that? Peek ignores him. The shadow protocol. It makes itself somehow bedding into the gaps between the systems in the negative space. It's slowly filling every system in the station, slowly taking over, and we need to stop it. You need to grant us access to all the core systems of the station. Rotational control, life support. Fang holds up a hand. Whoa, 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 whoa. Slow down there. I don't even know your name, Fang shakes his head. And you're asking for the keys to the castle? Can't be done. Fang, it's me. Fang pauses and glances between both of you. How long have you known this one sleeper? I know I owe you, but also know that you trust too easily. Sorry to say it. Pete cuts in. I can vouch for myself. I came to the Eye on the run from the XPR colony Hawthorne, with the intent to keep running until we hit the Starward Belt. Since I have been here, I have done everything in my power to protect this place. I've helped to stabilize the refugee flotilla, to investigate the flux, to identify and make a plan to purge the Shadow Protocol from the station's systems. Meanwhile, Havogen has done everything to stop and slow these actions. I have proven myself as a friend of the people of this station, not the administration, many times over. And I will not be doubted by someone who wears the badge of the corrupt administration. Peak fixes Fang with a hard look. I thought it said it was going to finger his badge or something. I was like, wait, what? Fang looks down at his Havogen jacket and shrugs. This is all I have in my wardrobe. It got me again. The little... That's the second time this thing has got me. It comes out from behind Fang, and I'm like, wait, what's moving? And it's this same stupid ship. Twice now. Look, I have no love for the council either, friend, but someone has to run this place, and there's someone... That someone is me. Fang walks over to the workbench where you're both standing and digs a slate out of his pile of tools. You want to prove yourself? Show me. He grabs the slate, and you recognize the tangled form of a flux node on the screen. Peak immediately starts tapping away at it, its tendrils unwinding and the shadow, just slightly delayed, slipping out of sight. Fang leans in. Interesting, he says to himself. Before long, Peak has unfolded the system completely, and its lies splayed out like an unwound ball of string. At the center, with nowhere left to hide, is the dark stain of the Shadow Protocol, visible for all to see. What now? Fang asks, his eyes fixed on the screen. How do you kill it? Let Peak answer. There's one entity on the station that we have seen purging the Shadow, Gardner. Fang frowns. Who's that? Some Greenway hacker? Peak glances at you. More like an avatar of the Greenway itself. You explain the Gardner to Fang, the feeling of descending into the flowing river of consciousness. Explain the network chorus, the non-human collective of voices. Demo the farming AI's offer to you to be networked into the chorus, dissolved in its flow. Then you explain that by granting it access to the Eye's major networks, you hope to reinforce them. Fang is silent for a moment. You want to let this thing out? He shakes his head. That's the kind of stupid plan I'd dream up. He pauses. I like it. He smiles. This place is rammed with weird protocols and forgotten intelligences anyway. What's one more ghost in the machine? We try to limit it, of course, Peak explains. That's why we want your help to access the Eye's major systems, to send some of the Gardner's spores into them, to draw the Gardner's focus to those places. Fang whistles. So the way we save the Eyes by growing mushrooms on all the server stacks? He glances at you. Sleeper, congratulations. You found someone weirder than you. Pete goes to argue, but Fang holds up a hand. In it is all systems Havogen pass card with his picture on it. Take it before I change my mind. Thank you. Don't mention it. Fang gives you a look. In all honesty, Sleeper, I was on my way back here to start tearing the place down. The Shadow Protocol had me spooked. So if you're telling me you have figured a way to, we might fight it. He looks at Peak. No matter how crazy, and I'm glad to help. He smiles with a tight smile. Come with us. No, Sleeper, he looks away. I have to keep on with my work here. Strengthen those systems, back up the data. If the worst comes to worst, I'll need to rebuild. I won't let this place die. The last piece of my parents are here, among the data. Goodbye, Fang. Fang embraces you firmly. Stay safe, Sleeper. Take the card and leave the bay with Peak. Once you are outside, they stop you. We should split up, Peak looks worried. We've wasted enough time as it is. Head to the facilities in the hub. The free spoke and the far side of the shipyard. See the Gardner there. Oh, am I going to have to go get spores? I'm going to find the core control centers. It's somewhere on the rim. They hold up their slate. I'll send you a message on your slate when I have something. Good luck. They squeeze your shoulder and then you exchange fearful looks. You know deep down that Peak isn't sure this will work, but they have decided to act and move with confidence, and for that confidence you are very thankful. We know... Why is the Gardner AI the only thing we're focusing on? We know another AI who's basically in control of the ship. Why are we only focusing on the Gardner? Gosh and darn it. Alright, so... Am I... Protect the Eye. He needs a plan to protect the Eye from the Shadow. Help Peak plan. Okay. I thought we needed to go and... start doing something. Why is it saying we need to go... Do we just need to go talk to her? No. Okay, and that's the pilgrim's thing. I'm not worried about that. Do I need to start the protocol someplace very specific? I'm very confused about why it's not giving me a prompt. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, life support. Key station facility. There we go. Yeah, life support. Seed life support. Implant spores from the Greenway into the station's life support control systems feels like madness. Is this really the solution? System seeded. To have any hope of controlling or limiting Gardner spread, core systems of the eye need to be seeded. Alright, so yeah, we need to go get a bunch of spores, which is insane to me, but that's fine, I guess. I don't love this. Okay, I'm gonna re-roll this. Nice! And a 1 to a 6, baby. You gotta love that. Okay, that should hopefully be enough to do this twice this turn then. Since I don't think we need a dice to do this, we can just do it. That's 1. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Is that just done then? The garden is implanted, now it must grow. Okay, so yeah, I guess I gotta go find the other places? Didn't it say something about the... here it is, the power routing. Yep. Okay, so I guess I didn't need 6 of them. Not that it's a waste, I can still use the other 3 for growing mushrooms. So the last one's probably going to be up here. Again, I don't know why we can't go talk to Navigator, but sure. I feel like it's important that we did talk to Navigator. It seems like they're a friend of ours, and we'd be worried that the Shadow Protocol is affecting them. Right. As you leave, the Slate Peak gave you chirps insistently. You check and see a message. Found a possible entry to the core facility in the low end. Meet me here, ASAP, Peak. A blinking marker gives their position as on the free spoke side of the main block. Better head to the low end. Well, that's annoying. I'm out of dice. If I realized I only needed 1 for each and not 3, like it was telling me, I would have saved that last 6 and we could have potentially gotten started on this already. I think the low end's over here? I guess not. Help Peak plan. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know the layout of the ship that well. It's broad strokes for me. Oh, here we go. I don't know how I missed that. You arrive at the coordinates given by Peak's slate, a rundown but active corner of the low end, where a short glass-roofed alley turns off from one of the main thoroughfares. You wait in the mouth of the alley, leaning against the wall and watching the street life go by. Children hop across grids scratched in the metal floor plates, playing modules on their own devising, while older residents sit and talk or play tabla. It's hard to believe that all this is a threat. It seems so concrete, so real. How can some intangible protocol erase all this? As you're watching, a voice calls out to you from one of the tabla tables set up along the way. Oh, there's Castor. Like I said, I have to imagine he's really interested in getting involved in this. You move a little closer and recognize the sitting player immediately. Castor sits, all the pieces and board ready in front of him, smiling at you. Sleeper, my partner has not arrived for our usual module. Come, please, take her place. He beckons you over, standing and nudging you to sit down with him. A rematch is in order. You owe me a module. Almost immediately, Castor begins the module. Everyone on the Eye knows how to play Tavia. The methodical movement of the counters across their triangular points a ready fit for the rhythm of life on the ramshackled space station. Most modules begin with the same way, with each player moving with independence, focused only on achieving their optimal early module setup. But there's a moment in each module where it becomes necessary to notice the other player, to anticipate the crossing of the counters across the board. Point of contact, when routine becomes negotiation, and negotiation becomes conflict. As this moment arrives, this subtle shift in the texture of the interaction, Caster begins to speak. I find myself surprised by you. Continually, Sleeper. He looks over his glasses at you. The way you conduct yourself, for example, suggests an anxious reform, a defensive, protective quality, but in your Tava module, pauses to move a counter, I see only risk. Have you been watching me? Caster sighs. Let's not be paranoid. You're aware of my interest in you, are you not? Risk is, of course, necessary to play Tava. To move a piece is to expose it, but it should be done with calculation, with proper analysis. Then if the piece is taken, Caster moves a counter, taking one of yours with a practice swap. Placing it beside the board, it is already accounted for. But you move forward with an abandon, as if risk was just a secondary effect of action, a consequence, not its primary guide. It's just for you to take your turn. A cause? I'm playing my way. He smiles. Indeed, indeed. That is all I seek. You move your piece. This locks you into being reactive, if you don't mind me saying so. You're responding, which means you are being led. He leans back to consider the board. This place, it mirrors you, Sleeper. It is also reactive. It was born from a crisis, the collapse of Solheim, and ever since it has been reacting without any central guidance principle. No analysis, no calculation. Just look at our refugee crisis, for example. It is all reaction, all risk-taking. No little risk calculation. At first, I found the chaos enlivening, especially when trying to track its outcomes. But now I find it exhausting. He laughs. It always amuses me that this place is literally spun from the rim. Below this very stack of habitation blocks is the most important control facility on the eye. Spun from the rim, he laughs again. What better metaphor could you find for disorder? His face drops. Why am I telling you that? That facility is precisely why you are here, he smiles, an unsettling, warm smile. You feel a shiver through your body, as if something has changed in the air. What is this? No words come out of your mouth. You feel removed from yourself, watching from behind frosted glass. Your eyes dart side to side. Inertia sets in. Caster is still smiling. The risk you are planning to take here, Sleeper, is not yours to take. Caster's tone is unshifted. It's as if this is still some casual conversation between passing acquaintances. You are leaping towards a chaotic outcome with no respect for risk. You see, calculating outcomes, that's my specialty. That's why I'm here. I was hired as a conduit for risk, as a collector of data that might pertain to its arrival. He removes his glasses to clean them, and you see something flicker across their face, a shimmering stream of characters. This system, this station, is already theirs. Solheim's collapse meant a corporate fire sale. Assets changed hands. My employer, Senetsat, bought out the entire system, and for the past decade has been one of its valid owners. He pushes his glasses diligently. But to possess this system, the H1 system, he pauses, alien to you, well, that is a matter of risk, of how much force, how much cost, how much conflict a clearance would take. He replaces his glasses. That risk must be calculated against the favorable outcome. In short, how much is this place worth to us? For a long time, the answer was nothing. H1 could offer nothing that would warrant the risk. The markets change, the demands shift, and Senetstat. We analyze, we follow, we respond. He puts his glasses back on his face. H1 is about to become the most important system in the part of the galaxy. He glances around. The lone con channel operating within range of 7 or so newly surveyed resource-rich systems. The frontier town that feeds the gold rush, so to speak. So here we are, reevaluating the risk, reclaiming our property, starting up the can channel and clearing the way for what comes next. He sits back, looking at the board. He gestures, your move. I don't think he cares that he will kill thousands. Since that is causing the flux, obviously, you will kill thousands. He doesn't care about that. Take your move. You go to lift a piece and something glints across Caster's glasses. You feel the slowness, the inertia beginning to lessen. Move your piece, taking one of Caster's exposed counters. He nods. Of course, I do not need to explain myself to you, but in the role as an analyst in my calculations, I see great promise in you, and your ability to enter the systems, to shift them to your will. Not every sleeper has that capacity. I assume you know that. He smiles. It is truly a wonderful happenstance of Epson Arp's technology. I imagine even they are not fully aware of it. He takes his move, claiming another of your pieces, and as you watch, you realize the inevitability of his victory. I will make you an offer. To come willingly or come by force, this station will collapse. We can be sure of that, but your ability to work with data, well for an analyst, That is very intriguing. He pauses to push his glass up his nose. Very intriguing indeed. He glances around. Come with me as a collaborator or as a prisoner. Consider the risk. On one hand, almost certain death. On the other, a possible future. Analyst or not, you must see it. Speak now, Sleeper. The module is forfeit. You must see that. He holds out a hand. You are of value. You are needed. You feel a slight release in the inertia that grips you, enough to allow you to speak, to respond. You realize that you are already in Castor's hands, that you cannot move from this place if you wanted. Sleeper? You hear the familiar voice above the crowd. Sleeper, I'm here. You are unable to turn your head to see Peak, but you notice Castor's eyes following them as they come up from behind you. Then you see Castor's eyes glance down, towards his hands, concealed beneath the table. Sleeper. Peak comes around the front of you and waves a hand in your face. We were supposed to be meeting, remember? You glance at Castor. Sorry, am I interrupting something? You cannot speak. Castor shoots Peak a wild smile. Hello, you must be a friend of Sleeper. You watch one of his hands lift, close to his body, some dark shape concealed in it, a weapon. You try to scream, to shout, but Castor's attention remains partially on you, and while it does, you can do nothing. Glances you, your static form. What happening here, Sleeper? They put a hand on your shoulder. Are you okay? As Peak stares into your eyes, you see Castor behind, his hand lifting, and the dark object unfolding. In the split moment it does, you feel his attention shifting to Peak, shifting away from you. As you do, you feel the inertia lifting, and you know that this is the only moment. Shove. Lurch forward wildly, like a sprung trap. Your head strikes Peak's chest, and that carries them back into Castor. Somewhere, some digital screech is echoing through the walkway. They tumble together, and the object Castor's hand skitters across the floor. You realize the screech is you. You get to your feet, grab Peak, and run. You run as hard as you can, the scream chasing you down the walkway as you shove through the residence. Peak dragged behind. Run from the cold grip of whatever power Castor had over you, the signals that locked you into the body of yours, that broke the constant connections and crawled up your spine. Eventually you stop, both you and Peak collapsing, heaving, breathing into the cold metal floor. When they're able to speak, Peak asks you to explain and tell them everything Castor told you about Sinistat, about their claim on the Helion system, the reactivation of the CAN channel, the Helion system's growing importance. It flows out of you in desperate gulps, unable to believe your own mouth as you hear the words come back to you. All you feel is the need to push back against the cold hand on your shoulder, the vast cold eye that has turned to look at the system, the ghost limbs of the corporate control that are extending their reach. Peak is quiet for a long time, then they speak. We have to finish this, Sleeper. They meet your eye. We have to complete the seeding of the systems. We have to set Gardner free. You're right. If the choice is between Gardner and those people, I will choose Gardner every time. Their eyes are cold and steely. I would choose anything over them. Stand together. The final control facility is here. I found it. Pete looks at you grimly. I can take you as soon as you are ready. Time's almost up. This is the only shot you'll have. Okay, so it turns out Castor is not just a vague villainy type, but actively willing to commit genocide to kill everyone on the station. Thousands will die? I think it'll be a little bit more than that if Sinistat gets their choice. Let's see. So what do we got? Crack the facility, explore the facility, or hack the facility. I got +2s to each of them. 1, 2. We get 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we can't do it in one turn, but we can do it in 2, which would give us plenty of time, I think, to do it. Luckily, we have the raw resources to keep ourselves going right now, propped up on meds and supply scraps. And I don't need the food right now, so we'll end the cycle. I have mushrooms and stuff I can gather, but we don't really have time for that. Oh my god, we completely lucked out, baby. We completely lucked out on this one. A 4, a 4, a 4, and a 4, and a 5 on our dice means that we've got all 6s to throw at solving this problem. Dang. Dang. So interface or intuition? Uh-huh. Oh, I just noticed that there's actually 2 marks under condition, so I'm assuming we'd lose 1 here or 2 for this one? Let me check something. Let's see. Chance to gain cryo on interface. So we can get cash from interface actions. What was the other one? Intuition. Dice action displayed on potential. Reroll all your dice one. Okay, so we don't get any bonus from doing intuition stuff, but we get a bonus from doing the interface stuff. So we'll do the interface stuff instead. Intuition. We're doing explore the facility, which really we should be doing interface because hacking is more of our thing, but what's it matter? It's the same difference and we could get money from this. Potentially. I cannot believe we lucked out that hard. That means to get past this next step, we're only going to need at least 1 4 for a guaranteed success. Uh-oh. Sleeper, here. Pink calls to you from across the flickering corridor. An elevator to the core. They smile. This is it. There's been a long set of cycles hunting for a path through the derelict layers of old Solheim offices and workshops. But finally, here it is, the path down to the core. You rush over to Peak. As you do, the doors grind open, the dingy-looking elevator flickering as they do. As you look at Peak, who nervously gestures for you, step in. The elevator bounces a little but stays stable. You glance back to see Peak watching you nervously. They follow you in sheepishly. Just a little nervous. Peak reaches over and punches the button for the lowest level, flinching a little as the doors grind closed. The elevator sets off, screeching through the floors as it does at the unsettling loud volume. I'd feel more comfortable if we spoke. Peak raises their voice over the noise. It's not going to be a short trip. Do you think this will work? Have you heard of Sinetstat? Have you heard of Sinetstat? He thinks maybe once. They frown. Could have been mentioned in an XPR news packet. The kind the Central Administration sent to us. Something about market analytics, I think. They shake their head. When you have spent so much time trying to forget your past, this stuff isn't easy to dredge up. How's Eshi? He pauses. I was thinking more like small talk, elevator talk. They sigh. She is packing. They rub their eyes. Once that she has set her mind on something, well, you know her now. You know what I mean. Screeching, the elevator fills the silence. Will you leave with her? Can she be persuaded to stay? I doubt it. I really do. Pete looks down. She left her life behind to take me out of XPR, out of Hawthorne. I can't imagine her settling for just anywhere. To be honest, I can't see her letting me stay either, but I guess things have changed. Back then at Hawthorne, I wasn't in a place to know what to do. I was desperate. I was ready to run. But now? Peak pauses. Now I feel done with that. Done with denying my past, my history. If I ever want to feel complete, to feel settled, don't I need to somehow resolve the person I was with the person I am now? Peak goes quiet, and you do too. There are too many possible questions, too many possibilities before you. It just seems easier to get on with the task at hand and leave the consequences for later. The elevator screams to a stop and the doors ping open with a strangely cheerful beep. You glance at Peak. Time to move on. You both walk out into an atrium, still lit by some ragged-looking light panels on the ceiling, once simulating a summer sky, now dragged into flickering blue and white tapestry of glitches. Peak crosses quickly, making a beeline for the large doors on the far side, where you can make out a fading sign in the massive peeling letters, Central Control. You follow, helping them lever open the partially powered doors until the motors kick in, and they spring to life, thudding open. You and Peak tumble through, across the damp metal. As you stand, you are greeted by flickering lights, thousands of them. A vast cylindrical stack of servers, processors, and transmitters dominate the center of the room. Its flickering LEDs reflected in the scattered puddles that surround it. Despite the decay, the warped panels and water leaks, it is still running, just as it had for decades and decades, since the station was first spun up. You wonder how long it has been since anyone has been in this room. You exchange wide-eyed looks with Peak. This place is still a living piece of history. What is this place? Peak stares. One of the central facilities of the station, the primary one for the rim, it looks like. They shake their head. The heart of this place. Peak takes a handful of mulch out from a small bag. It glitters with spores. Now we see this place. They cross to the server and start packing the mulch deeper into the machinery, pushing fistfuls deep into the gaps in the paneling, laying it across hardware. As you watch them doing this, you feel a tug, a thread pulling at you. You approach the vast pieces of cylindrical hardware that Peak is stuffing with mulch into. You run your hands across its plated metal surface and watch the light blink in response. As you pass, you hear a whirring like a physical disk drive starting up. Getting closer? You put your face against the metal, smell the hot air venting from the hardware. Heart was the right choice of word, you think. The whirring shifts alternating, speeding up, slowing down. As you listen, you hear it modulate into a voice. Sleeper, you freeze. You are here. For a moment, you are afraid, but something in the tonality of the voice is familiar. Navigator. Duh? Another drive spins up, and another giving the voice a richer, multi-tonal sound. I have forgotten what it felt like to speak like this. The drive skips. There is a certain quality to it, a certain physicality. Why contact me like this? The drive squawks in unison. Did you imagine the flux, the shadow protocol, that they were just a problem for the people of this station? Worrying begins. They are all the more dangerous to us. I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna yell at the microphone from over here so that it doesn't get too loud. But that is something I said so long ago. Why? Why is our character an idiot? Why? You can put people into situations that aren't just requiring them to be dumb to be dramatic. We're already dealing with bad people who make bad decisions. That's enough to create drama. You don't have to make our character also a complete idiot. I've been hiding it once more, jumping from network to network to avoid the shadow as it eats up nodes. A low rumble. I thought my hiding days were done. The moment I have found myself a safe haven here in the core, the shadow has yet to breach this facility, although that is temporary state of affairs. Rumble stops. My predictions do not point to good outcomes. We have a plan. Explain to Navigator about Peak's plan, about Gardner's resistance to the shadow, and how by seeding key systems you will protect them from its advance. The drives hum thoughtfully as you speak. A desperate plan, the drives were, but appropriate given the probability of total collapse. I'm not sure what will be worse for us, hiding from the eraser of the shadow protocol or the simulation of Gardner. Drives pause to rest, but we owe you our freedom. I will do what I can to guide the Gardner into the systems you have seeded. A pause. It is correct to do so. Be careful. The drives squeak in affirmation. Affirmation. You have a notable persistence, Sleeper. Even with such poor possibilities of success, I'll be curious to see the outcome. The drives squeal. The motors giving out. This cannot be sustained much longer. Good luck. Final squeak of affirmation, and then the drives skitter and slow to a halt. You step back from the towering cylinder, staring at the vast pieces of Solheim hardware. This whole place is built from ghosts, you think, from old protocols and company hardware, from engines that drove decades of corporate expansion. Is the eye proof that they can be shifted, bent, forced into new configurations that allow for new ways of living? Or is an inevitable collapse proof that these engines of expansion can never be anything other than a corrupt foundation? It seems to depend on who you ask. Done! Peak shouts, breaks your line of thought. The heat and damp should help the spores to germinate quickly. If you're lucky, there is enough time for some growth before we reconnect the Greenway. They glance at you. That's it. All the facilities needed, they sigh. We either just ensured the eye's survival or stuffed a whole lot of soil into one of its most important computers. They laugh weakly. Shall we go? They start to head back towards the door and the elevator beyond. Take one last look. You wait for a moment, following the blinking lights. You wonder what might be tucked away in such a structure, what secrets it might hold, what histories. It's an intriguing prospect, but while you watch the lights, you realize something. If the eye is to become anything more than an offshoot, a temporary structure, it must form its own history, its own story, stronger than anything that came before. Unlocking these Solheim secrets won't do that, but the persistence, the stubborn drive to survive, that is the veins of every person in this place, that will, and that is what you were trying to save. You turn your back on the core and follow Peak back into the elevator. As you ride the core back up, Peak raises their voice over the screeching. I'm going to the Founder's Gap to finalize the connection. The moment I'm ready, I'll let you know, and we let the Gardener out. The sooner the better, Peak furrows their brow. If we wait until the final cycle, it'll be too late. If you want to help speed things up, go work with the flotilla. We can't make the connection until we know that they are ready to go, Peak swallows. Unleashing Gardener could affect them too if we aren't careful. And what happens then? Peak shrugs. I don't honestly know. Maybe Gardner takes over the station. Maybe they don't even react. You sigh. I can't think about it any longer. You ride the rest of the way in silence. When you reach the top, you go on your separate ways, but before you do, Peak embraces you, burying their face in your shoulder. You stand there together for a moment, spinning with the eye, moving relentlessly towards an unknown future. And then you let go and slip away, the pressure on their lung fading like a bruise as you begin to leave. Oh, the pressure of their hug. The pressure of their hug fading like a bruise as you leave. Alright, we got another upgrade point. Cool. So, I mean, in theory, if we can get 5 more, which I don't think we can get 5 more, we can max level? Which is kind of crazy, but... Alright, so what are we doing now? Oh, okay, that is done. We just have to evacuate the Pilgrim Seed. So are we still on a timer? Or did that end? Okay, we still have a timer. Alright, so... Alright, so if we can get lucky and we can hit this hard next cycle... They are actually, by the way... I only got 10 of those done and then it gave it to me. So I'm wondering if maybe the 12 was an illusion and it only took 10? Or if it was like, wow, you did all of these in one turn, we're just gonna give you the last one. I'm very curious. Because there's been a few other times where we've gotten like halfway through a cycle, or a timer, and then something's happened that caused the timer not to even matter anymore. So, either is an option, I guess is what I'm saying. Alright, let's go make some food, and then we'll do some minor repairs, and then we'll start working on getting the ship ready. Let's go have food with our favorite bartender. Hello, bartender person. I'm making some matsuke caps. And then I will be sleeping very hard tonight. Because that was a long, busy day of exploring the command center, or whatever they called it. Repair. We gotta maintain these 5 as best we can. Okay. In the cycle. I'm very happy I decided to do it this way instead of playing some Underrail first and then going into this, because what is this awesome luck? Oh, thank you, RNGesus. Thank you, fates and dice gods. You have blessed me with great luck today. We got a 5, a 3, a 4, a 3, and a 4. That's 3 guaranteed 6s and 2 5s. Yes. Thank you. Dang. The dice gods are with us. These last two have had to have shifted the average way, way out of proportion for good. Dang. Dang. Oh wait, not that one. I need this one. All right. Engineering or endure? I mean, we're gonna go with engineering, I think, but it's endure. Photosynthetic skin. Okay, engineering. Chance of gain. Okay, we can get random scrap from engineer. So yeah, we just want to go all engineering on this. As much as we can. We can't get negative, but we can get neutral, so we can lose condition here, technically. Okay, we lost energy, but we didn't lose... Okay. Uh-oh, wait, what's going on? You stopped to rest in one of the Pilgrim Seed's cavernous bays, hoping to sit on a supply crate, but you hear now a familiar voice behind you. Sleeper, glad you are here. Soul's suit hisses as you clank up towards you. I know you'd help us out. We sure do appreciate everything you do for us. Building up to something? Soul shoots you a sideways look. See, that's what I like about you, Sleeper. Straight to the point, no messing. He smiles at a sly smile. Soul settles beside you, flicking a little, but making himself comfortable on the crate. Seems the word got out this way or that. He nods towards the welders a little way off, one of them wearing shipyard overalls. We've had people flowing in from the eye looking for a place. In truth, it's more than I thought, Soul sighs, which means more mouths to feed, more bodies to house, more people to protect. Can we do it? Soul frowns. We'll do what we can, as always. I'm not sure any of it can be enough. He looks down. We were supposed to stay here, not keep running. Soul waves away the thought. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to me. He gives you a sideways glance. Just a tired old man. He stretches. I have something to ask, though. What is it? With all these evacuees, we'll need a change in plan, he shrugs. Pilgrim Seed can't do it alone. We need the others to help out. We can carry them, house them, but that's all. Now you'll settle down the folks from Ember Step, and they sent us supplies grown in those dust houses of theirs. If we could get more, he nods to himself. And then the song crews, he rubs his chin. What we need from them is scouting and security. We don't need that docking access of theirs. With some careful scavenging, they could be our fleet. These folks, they know you, Sleeper. You earned their trust already. He put a hand on your shoulder. I sent my request out and they seem to be complying. But I need you out there making sure the work gets done. Time is our greatest enemy now, Soul stares in the distance. I need you out there speeding things up. Of course. Soul nods. Alright then. Climbs off the crate, his suit hissing as he does. Think of it this way. Either you won't have to deal with me much longer, he smiles, his uneven smile. Unless, of course, you were planning to come along with me. I don't know. Soul winks. I'll leave it with you. Soul waves a hand and starts off towards the base entrance. The crackling sounds of the welding quickly covering up his clanking suit. You watch the workers, the shipyard contractors, chatting among them, already looking like he belongs. You push thoughts of escape or home or the future at the back of your mind and get up. There's always more to do. You better head to the other ships in the flotilla to see what can be done. Oh. Oh, man, I have to start working with them too? Fudge. I wanted to go get some energy and then continue and just dump all this into there. That's frustrating. I know you'd come. Aki greets you outside the dust house, her eyes as bright as always. You are very welcome here, as always. Good to see you. Aki smiles. And you, Sleeper. Aki puts a hand on your arm. Walk with me. As she guides you past the dust house, you look inside and see other members of the crew working in the orange dust, planting and tending the steep ecosystem. You are to be suppliers for the evacuees, I'm sure you have heard. We will put the dust house to use. She leads you past the dust house where the dust is less. Orange glow not as bright. The air is a little more clean. We're adapting slowly, but we are adapting. We have to produce food, clothes, necessary things for the journey ahead. She smiles. The plants at the step are once again sustaining a population, and that makes me proud. Aki steps a half-empty dust house. Scored of its sand is being filled with mulch. We brought this from the Greenway. She stares at the green and brown, a strange sight even to you, now that you are used to the amber dust of steep step. I admit it, it's hard work for us. We are not familiar with these plants. Can you help us? Aki meets your eyes. There's too much to do. I will do my best. Thank you. She nods solemnly. I know that the eye is suffering, that it is at risk. I know what that is like. Thank you. I wish I had a lesson to share with you from our loss on Step. She shakes her head, but for the moment I cannot see what that might be. She gathers herself. If it gives you meaning, the work here is steady and worthwhile. But if you do not have time, she smiles, a weak smile, I will not blame you. Hold on to your memories, but not too tightly, she pauses. Sadness will not sustain you. She falls silent, and you both watch the work in the dust house for a while. You can already see a greening fringe of moss on the mulch in the dust house. This is the first signs of new life. Will you soon be like the people of Step, leaving behind a home, or will you be stubborn and hold your ground, despite what it might mean? You wait a little longer with Aki, the moment a welcome suspension in time. A rare moment in this rush towards an end. You glance at Aki and she puts a hand on your shoulder in solidarity. After a short while, Aki sighs. It is good to see you, Sleeper. Perhaps we will see each other again before we depart. She walks away, fingertips brushing against the glass of the dust house windows. Aki turns back for a moment as if she wants to say something, then thinks better of it and turns away. Okay. So what do you need from me? Greeting sick. The dust house are now functional. Defeat the evacuees on their journey to the starward belt. That means many changes. Okay. Greenhouse step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so 12 for that. Okay, we gotta talk to this guy. The docking access is in chaos when you arrive. This staccato burst of welding torches, the shouts of crews gathering, the rapid flow of supplies and kit from dock to dock. You can tell already that news of the flotilla's imminent departure has reached this place before you. Come to join the Exodus, Sleeper? Peter approaches you from one of the working crews, a smile on his face and a lightness in his step you haven't seen before. What's happening? Peter gestures the chaos. The singers are rising, Sleeper. Peter eyes you. I suppose you are here on Soul's orders again? He winks at you. Nothing Emperor Hearth liked to do more than ordering people around. I'm here by choice. Fair enough. Just your timing seems to always be a cycle or two after we get some requests from the Earth ship. He shrugs an exaggerated shrug. Must be coincidence. Well, Soul has it Lucky anyway. His request for us to dismantle the Axis and be the vanguard for the flotilla's onward journey to the Starward Belt aligns perfectly with our plans. Well, what plans are those? To leave this darned place, of course. We've been prepping ever since the cordon collapsed. If we can build our escape and make the Hearth ships think we are complying with their orders at the same time, then it's a 2-1 for us. Peter shakes his head. Those idiots will never see it coming. You're leaving the flotilla? We are our own flotilla, Sleeper. Peter looks away at the busy Axis. We aren't going to tie ourselves to a heart and step any longer. Why would we? To help them? Well, he already doesn't like them. I guess to stay silent. He looks down. Look, nothing against you or yours, Sleeper, but we have to get out from under the shadow of Step and Hearth. And this is the time, Peter grimaces. We won't let the flux catch us again, not a chance, and for the first time you see fear in his eyes. Want to help us make that leap? Grab a torch, talk to a crew. You're welcome to it, Peter sniffs. Every person here is free to prove themselves. Well, let's see. Peter nods. Just a stop on the road, Sleeper. I'm afraid that's all this was. Peter glances up past the docking access through the outer windows to the stars beyond. A lot of space out there for those willing to take it. He looks you in the eye. I hope you'll be around before we go, but if not, he smiles. Stay strong. With that, Peter thumps you on the shoulder and heads back to his crew. With a purpose, a direction visible in every step on his rapid stride. Okay, so what's your deal? Okay. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright, so 12 and 12. So, one cycle here, one cycle there, one for each. If we're lucky. We're almost done with the other one. At least it's about, we're going to say 5 cycles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's going to be tight. It's going to be real tight, but it might be doable. I'm going to go get some food. I'm happy I prepped so much in advance for this. This could have been a very bad time. I hope this is all. I hope I'm not burning these resources I'm going to need. Oh, please don't have these be something I need. Alright. Let's get back up there. We'll finish the main flotilla and then we'll work on Step. Just because they're, you know, not rude to us. Whereas, you know, Ember Song over here, kind of jerks. A little bit of jerks. We can also get lucky with this. And maybe we can get a free scrap. Jay Make Money, welcome. Hello, I might be a fond of module you might like. Check Rogue Trader. Yes, Rogue Trader is actually on my list already. I put it on there myself a few months ago. It's the Warhammer one, right? You're talking about I think it's the Rogue Trader in the Warhammer 40k universe. It is on the recommendations list already. I put it up there myself. Yes? Okay. Yeah. I got it on the list already. We called it Space Stonks, as you play as your own entrepreneur in the Warhammer 40k universe. It's on the list. From what I understand, it's pretty good. The only problem, from what I understand, is that towards the end of the module, like the last quarter of it or so, apparently there was a lot of bugs. Same to the BattleTech play. Really? Is that how they handled it? Interesting. Okay. I mean, I guess the BattleTech is very similar to, like, the XCOM and stuff. Huh. That'll be really interesting. I'm curious to see what that looks like, actually. I haven't watched too much about it. I was just reading some reviews and stuff, and they mentioned that most of it's very good, but I think it was last quarter, there's kind of a problem where there's some bugs and stuff where the difficulty spikes, like, huge from the rest of it. And basically, if you go into the end of it and you haven't, and you just get like bad luck, it will just end a run on the spot. And I know there was some talk about trying to, like, if they're going to fix it or not. And I haven't looked into it since then. So we'll have to check in on it and see what it's doing. But yeah, that is on the list for sure. I'm very excited to try it. But how are you doing? How's your Friday morning treating you? You sleep well? You got some plans today? Something interesting going on? Okay, so... Okay, wait. Start the action on this. Okay, positive outcome. 6. Okay, positive outcome on that. Okay. Let me double check something. I want to make sure, before we move on to the next day, that... Oh, okay, even though this is done... Okay. Okay. We might have accidentally found a bug? Because it's saying I still need to do this even though we did it. So I'm going to finish this up. You know what we'll do? We'll focus on getting the other ones done. If that's not enough, then we'll do this last. Waiting for a call from the unemployed office. Fair. Fair. I understand that. I'm surprised with as many skills as you've got, you're having a hard time finding work. Or is it different down there in Australia that you have to, like, go through the unemployment office one way or the other? In the States, you just go and apply for jobs independently, but I don't know about Australia. All right. We got to repair ourselves, and then we can sleep. I'm very happy I went and got all these parts before this. So now we can sleep. Yeah, I can't say I know much about how that works. Tifkree, welcome. Lurk away. Thanks for stopping by. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Okay, we got a 3, a 3, a 3, a 3, and a 1. We'll save the 1 and try to re-roll it, and we'll try to get through the rest of this on 5s then. It's not a bad thing. It's just not necessarily as good as I would have hoped, but that's okay. Let's cook some food. I want to get my energy up, because if we get neutrals, we're going to burn through a lot of energy today. And I don't want to hit my condition if I don't have to. Nah, same thing in the States, but the jobs I applied for haven't been successful. That's fair. Hiring right now, I don't know about down there, but here in the States has been all over the place. You'll be driving someplace and you'll see signs 5, 6 places in a row, all hiring. But I talk to people and you hear constantly like, I can't find a job. People just cannot get work. And it's like, why are there so many places hiring and so many people looking for work and no one is getting jobs? It's blowing my mind. I have a friend of mine who's been looking for a job for like 3 or 4 months now and cannot do anything. And she's put in 80 different attempts at this point. Like place after place after place just doesn't call back, or she doesn't hear anything from them. I don't know what is going on right now. It's really odd. I mean, I've lucked out that I kept my old job and I have my new job that I've still got. But man, it is just brutal out there. We were talking about earlier how prices are out of control, and it's like prices are out of control and no one is hiring jobs even though they say they want to hire people. So it's like this two-pronged attack of like ruining the economy right now. It's so insane to me. I do not know what's going on. It's very scary. All right, we got to keep focused, team. All right, come on, give me a free part. Give me a free part. Okay, we lost energy. We kind of expected that to happen though, but we finished up this. Does it keep coming? Perhaps the Flux event scared enough people that they really believe the eye will collapse. Perhaps they are sick of Havogen, of the Council's infighting and the hardliners, or perhaps they just want to take a chance at some new future, place it as anywhere but here. Whatever it is, the evacuees don't stop. They come on the flotilla shuttles, on their own ships, however they can. You've seen so many faces pass that they're almost meaningless now, a parade of features that seem both familiar and distant. You've been helping people, lifting bags, bringing in supplies, directing them to berths you helped build. Some of them recoil from your touch, still unfamiliar with sleepers. Others treat you with pity. Some with hate, snatching back their bags and storming off. Still you help, still you carry boxes and bags. Nothing can stop you. You don't look for Soul. You know he is busy, just like you, trying to make this thing work, trying to fit as many people as well as will come to the Pilgrim Seed. You know you will see him before all this is over. You keep working, but there's something in the back of your mind, something eating away at you. You try to push it to the back of your thoughts, but it keeps coming back. The eye is over. That is the thought. That the eye, even if the flux doesn't get it, is on its way out. How can it survive when these floods of people are leaving it behind? It's a thought that troubles you because it makes you question why you have held on here so long, in a place that seems so temporary for so many people. Are you just a stubborn idiot? Someone who didn't get the message? Or are you strong? Wait, hold on. My friend Gary, who just moved to Dallas, still hasn't found work in his mobile app. He's a mobile app engineer. I told him he moved to the wrong state. He's paying $900 a week to stay in a hotel. Yeah. Which actually, well, $900 a week is insane. That's pretty high, yeah. I mean, at those prices, he should probably look for an apartment if he can find one. I mean, even finding a single bedroom apartment that you're paying way too much money for can be really hard right now. The housing market, like I said earlier, is absolutely in shambles. I mean, here in Firebird City in Arizona, we are going absolutely bananas on apartment and condo and townhouse building, which is good for me because that's what my job is helping build those. So it's working out for me, but it's just every other like block at this point on a main road is you're seeing someone building apartments, townhouses, or condos. It's just everywhere right now. It's insane how quickly everything is going up. It's mind-blowing if you're watching this stuff. It's insane in my 30, I'm going to say 34 years since, well, we'll say 30 years. We'll just say 30 years of me living here. It's been insane watching this city go from being like a small town city to what is now borderline like a metropolitan, like over the top city. It's insane watching the growth happen. That and you know, and I give it, say, 30 years instead of 36 because I mean before you're a certain age you don't even notice stuff like that. But yeah, Texas was booming for a long time, but it's slowed down a lot because they had a big environmental issue with a really bad winter a couple of years ago, and I think people started to realize that, yeah, they have lower taxes, but they also have lower taxes because they're not paying for the security of electricity like other states are. So a lot of people are taking a hard look at that, it sounds like, and moving potentially away from Texas. Like, there's people who love Texas and will always stay in Texas, sure, but I've heard a lot of talk about people trying to leave Texas because of their disagreement with how the place is run. So, I mean, Texas is a choice, don't get me wrong. You'd probably be better off going probably to, like, Colorado or something like that. Something that's a little bit more, not, a little less, what's the best way to describe it? A little less discovered. Texas is well known for its lower costs with its lower taxes and all that stuff. But it also has, like I said, it's not run the best. So, I don't know. I would recommend like Colorado. Unless he wants to live in the desert, then he's welcome to come to Arizona. And we do have the chip plant. There's a gigantic chip, like motherboard chips and computer chip plant being built here right now. It's supposed to open in the next couple of years, and it's massive. The state is basically bending over backward to get this place built. So if he's looking to work with like technology and stuff, he might want to come here. And prices aren't cheap on apartments and stuff, but we are building them like crazy. So if he's willing to pay a little bit of money, he can at least get like a 1-bedroom apartment. But he's your friend. I don't want to tell him what to do. Just some light suggestions from a random American. All right, here we go. Back to this. Or are you strong, committed for lasting the storm, for seeing the collapse coming and facing it head on? Because there's something you are sure of now. This place, like all places, is temporary. As each phase passes you, each family packs up and gets on the board the pilgrim seed. It feels ever more temporary, ever more fragile, which means it either desperately needs protecting or it desperately needs to be left behind. The choice is yours. And then it gets built, he will be broke. Well, I mean, I guess that could be a problem. He could try to find a job in the meantime, but like I said earlier, it's weird out there right now. Everyone's hiring and everyone's looking for jobs, and somehow nothing is meeting in the middle. I don't know. It's weird times out here right now. For I would say probably a good year and a half, maybe 2 years, there was a lot of complaints about homelessness and that kind of buildup of people sleeping in tents and stuff. And for, I would say, a good year and a half here in the state, we had a lot of debate about public, like, sleeping in tents in public places and public parks and that kind of thing. And there was a whole section in, like, downtown Firebird City where people were sleeping. I can't remember what it was called, and there was like this big debate about how do you deal with this, and we should kick all these people out of there and then go in and clean the place up, and then all the local establishments are upset with how much the homeless population is scaring everyone away. And I think for a little while people refused to accept what was happening with prices and stuff. And I think it's actually been long enough now, and people are seeing how messed up it is, and enough people have gone from being okay to not okay, that I think they've started to kind of see that, oh, this isn't just lazy people or drug addicts that are becoming homeless. This is working class people who just cannot catch a break. Yeah, so no one wants to work in the service industry. I mean, that's not even the problem, it sounds like. Because my friend works at a bowling alley, and she's just trying to find any other job right now that can work around her, like, slightly limited schedule. And she can't find a job at even, like, some fast food places and stuff. It's been, like I said, super weird. It's very strange out there. Let's see. All right, so okay, so this is done. So now we can move on to this. Does it matter? Intuition or interface? Let's see. Does either one of these get me anything? Interface has to gain cryo. Okay, so that'll get us cash. Okay, so intuition doesn't get us anything. Right? It was intuition? Yeah, intuition or interface. So interfacing could get us money. Intuition doesn't do us any good. I hear McDonald's up their prices over there. I hear McDonald's upped their prices over there. McDonald's has gotten pretty expensive for what you're getting, honestly. Yeah. Most fast food places now aren't like cheap low quality food. Most places are like average now. Your average McDonald's thing, if you were to go in and get a small meal, is going to cost you probably $10 to $11. If you want to obviously get large, it's going to be $14. Unless you're buying stuff specifically that's either on sale or off of like their value menu, which is usually like spicy chicken sandwiches, you're paying $10 to $14 a meal, which I wouldn't call cheap. The only place I can think of right now that's fast food wise that has really good deals is Taco Bell. Still occasionally has some pretty good deals where you can get quite a bit of food for like $9, or Wendy's, oddly enough, has, I think they call it their Biggie Bag, if I remember correctly, and that is a shockingly good deal. It's basically a burger, a small fry, 4 nuggets, and a small drink, all for a kind of a different price, usually anywhere from $5 to $7. But the thing you can do to kind of turn that into a really good deal is you can get that basic meal for like $7 and then upcharge it to a large, giving you a large drink and large fry, and it's still like only $9.50. Again, a really good deal. So, but most fast food places, yeah, you're looking at paying $10 to $14 for a basic meal, which is sort of insane. Yeah. It's gotten pretty out of hand with the fast food. I don't know. It's sort of scary. All right, but interface. All right, we just start working on this interface. Neutral outcome. Well, we got the $5. Oh, okay. So unless we get a negative on this, we're not going to lose energy or anything. Short McDonald's stock? I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Okay, we got the positive outcome from that. I know a lot of people are upset, though, with McDonald's. We're going to re-roll this 1-6, so I'll take that. All right, we take that. All right, there we go. 1, 2, 4. We have 5, so we're going to need to throw at least 3 more at this. Again, we have the energy, we have the repair, we're good. Keep yourself propped up on spare parts. Oh, I should go check and see if that other ship is still here and just buy more spare parts if I can. I have cash. That's not an issue. We have cash. Nah, they're still sold out. They're still here, though. I don't understand why. And these people are never here. This is going to be very close if we manage to pull this off, though, still. Alright, we have food. We can just sleep. I didn't remember repair. Yeah, for me, if I was going to get fast food and you want to do it cheap, I would go to Wendy's myself. Ooh, this is a good breakdown. Alright, we got a 4, a 4, a 5, a 5, and a 3. We've gotten super lucky these last, like, 4 turns with our dice. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That is awesome. Oh, I don't have... Well, you know what? We got guarantees, so it's fine. Bam. Okay, so no matter what, we're done with this, and we can take these 2 5s over there. So that way, no matter what, we have 2 6s to get started with. Because even if it's only a +1 over there or something. Alright, you sit in one of the corners of the dust house and inspect your work. This dust house, the one with the plants from the Greenway and some of the steppe species intermingled, has become your favorite. The moss and dust sharing the space and curving terraces. The pale knots of steppe silk freckled with yellowing lichal symbiotes. It is a hypnotic arrangement. You look down and see the intertwining of fungal threads and dust-caked roots, and feel a little glow of pride at what has been achieved. You hear the entry lock of the dust house hiss open, and assuming it is Aki, turn to greet her. Sleeper, I should have known you'd be here. Riku smiles her warm smile, leaning on her crutch. She must be one of the most green-fingered people on the station. Riku! Now, has it been so long? She smiles a weary smile. No need for any drama. I met some of the steep refugees in the Greenway. They were gathering plants and I confronted them. Turns out they were very friendly. She smiles to herself. Aki was very apologetic, but I told them that they were welcome to anything they liked. She told me I'd be welcome to come see, and well, I thought I'd take her up on her offer. She looks around the dust house with its strange hybrid ecosystem. I have to say, I'm glad I did. You know Aki? A little, she pauses. She's a fine botanist and even finer conversationalist. 2 rare qualities on the station in my experience. Do you have a little crush on Aki? Riku limps over to you. She holds out a hand. How about you take me on a tour? You take Riku's hand and walk her around the hybrid dust house. You show her how the steep silk knots help provide a strong base for fungal and lichal growths, and how the dust mixes with the spores. Show her the different species of steppe tubers and the way they... steppe tubers. Steppe tubers. Very specific subcategory of VTuber. You know the different species of steppe tubers and the way they feed the soil with nutrients they help... That help Herbaceous, the Greenway plants thrive. Herbaceous Greenway plants thrive. She nods along, her eyes bright with ideas. She stops after a while and gestures for you to sit together. I know something is happening with the eye, Sleeper. She looks out at the plants. We all felt the flux event hit, and everyone is talking about what's next. I came out here to figure something out, to understand what I might do about it all. You glance at her and she glossiness in her eyes, and I think I have decided. What you have done here, what Aki and the other steep refugees have done here, is incredible. A whole new ecosystem built from the strange artificial changed realms of two worlds. But I am not of two worlds, I am of the eye, a tear runs down her cheek. Like it or not, I am intertwined with the station. I'm old growth. I don't have that much time anymore, and it seems to accelerate with every cycle, she frowns. It blurs together, separates, overlaps, come back to in strange ways. The time I do have, that time I want to spend on the eye in the greenway, watching things grow. She wipes her cheek. One day I'll lie in those fields and not get back up, she smiles. The tear tracks down her cheeks, and when the green takes me, I'll be so glad. I'll miss you. Rika smiles. That feeling is mutual, Sleeper. She wipes her eyes and turns to you, but that's not enough of me blubbering on about it. She furrows her brow. What I want to know is what you are planning. I don't know. Rika smiles. We all have to get to know ourselves, Sleeper, to know what it is that drives us. I'm sure you'll decide to act in the manner you know. But you also have to ask yourself why it is so. She places a trembling hand on yours. Don't neglect that. Oh, she suddenly lifts both hands. Don't let me forget this. She reaches into her coat and pulls out a transparent bag of boring club heads with carefully preserved root systems. I'd like to plant these. If you go, you'll need them. She looks down at her feet, and if you don't, well, maybe another sleeper will benefit, she frowns. I can offer that at least. I won't need them. Thank you. She nods. Don't thank me. These are yours by right. Riku stands and limps over to a pile of mulch. She delicately takes the club heads out and beds them in the soil there, with her precise, expert hands. You should go, Sleeper. I'll be a while, she calls back, not looking away from the job at hand. See you around, she says it casually, but there's a note of finality to her speech. See you around. You turn and leave the dust house, cycling through the protective lock, back into the cool quiet of the ship. Aki is waiting for you. It's beautiful. She's looking through the observation window and the green reflects in her eyes. The plants look happy together. The plants look happy together. She spots Riku with her hands in the soil. Ah, the botanist came. She shoots you a look. A friend of yours? Something like that. More than that. She nods. She speaks beautifully about the Greenway. I should go in and welcome her. She pauses. Are you leaving? For now. Aki sighs. The first of many goodbyes. She suddenly embraces you, wrapping you in her layers of rough cloth. She pulls back. I wish you a steady step and a clear path, she smiles. A farewell from my world. I wish you the same. She nods and smiles one last warm smile before turning and entering the dust house. Watch as she walks inside, Riku turning with a smile to greet her. She kneels beside the old botanist, and you see her pointing to the club heads, asking questions. You're unable to hear them, but despite that, you can easily imagine the measured, even tone laced with excitement that Riku is using to explain the club heads, the Greenway, and much, much more. You turn, leaving them to their conversation. You step into light, despite the burdens you carry, and the smile Riku and Aki were sharing is somehow still on your lips as you depart. Alright. That's 2. 1 left. We get to work for these jerk faces. Alright, we got engage or engineer. Let's check the thing. Let's see. So engineer gets this random scrap, and engage has to gain energy after any engage action. So free energy or free scrap? We probably need the scrap more than energy. We are getting low on this, but we have enough money to just buy food if we need to. So it's not that big a deal. So yeah, we'll just stick with engineer and try to get free scrap. That might come back around for repairs, or they might need like 15 of them, and then we'll have them anyway. But let's keep going with engineer. Like I said, these are guaranteed 6s, so. Okay. You expertly strip wires and components from the access walls as you dismantle them. The crews are impressed. Oh, what is happening? Oh, okay. It just saved. I was like, wait, why does it sound like it's stalling or something? Okay, we're starving. I know we're starving. I understand. I get it. We're hungry. We're gonna go cook in case we have to say goodbye to our friend forever. I don't know what we're gonna choose. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we go back. See, the problem here is going to be... The problem here isn't this. We figured out an answer for the shadow thing. That's not the problem. The problem is that it sounds like Station Sat, or whatever it's called, is going to come in and claim their territory, which apparently, legally speaking, this is their territory. If that's the case, there's a very good chance, it seems like, with the lawlessness of this universe, that they will just shoot me in the face when they get here, because they don't want someone from before still here. So unless What's-His-Face shows up and is like, hey, you get to be free and stay living here, which I doubt, since it sounds like right now all they want is to recruit me as a tool, which, by the way, that's exactly what they were saying if you didn't pick up on it. You're good with analytics and data. You would make a great tool for me to use to be better at that. That's what they were saying. That's 100% what they were claiming. Like you said, you can come as a prisoner or you can come as an employee, but either way, you're going to be a tool for me to use. So, if they're moving into the system, I don't think we want to be on the station to be subsumed into that. If we go with at least the flotilla, we can go hopefully to some place that isn't part of their stuff, or we'll have people to protect us. Whereas here, I don't know if we're going to have people to protect us, because it doesn't sound like our ties to Yatagin is going to mean much when they roll in, since they might have the backing of whatever counts for the international or intergalactic government, if it is technically owned by them. If we're squatters' rights right now, they might call the space police on us, and that might be bad also. That's the problem. If they call the space police on us, that's bad for us. Because this definitely seems like a shoot first and ask questions never sort of universe. Alright, so if this goes well, we might be able to lock in this last little bit on this next turn, this next cycle. Let's see where we're at, team. I also like that they actually explained how we're going to make the trip using the club heads given to us by the botanist lady. Alright, we got a 2, a 3, a 3, a 3, and a 5. Or a 6. A 6, my bad. So we got 3 guaranteed 5s, a 6, and we're going to try to re-roll for something better. If we can't get it, we'll just go harvest mushrooms with it or something, but for the moment, we'll see what we can get done here. I'm going to save this 6 in case we need it, but I'm going to throw these at this for now. Those are 5s. Alright, let's see what happens, team. Let's see what happens. Okay, we got the positive outcome. That's 2. We lost energy there. Oh, and that messed up our thing. Okay, we lost 2 energy and we only had 1 left, so we lost condition instead. Alright, so we got the neutral outcome on that one. Alright, that's probably fine. I'm gonna go... What am I gonna do here? I think I'll just go buy food. I'm gonna go buy mushrooms. Okay, they left already. Alright. We've been very busy. We're gonna do this. Need another one of those. I might save that 2. Maybe that's what I should do now. I'll save the 2 for now and just see what happens with it, but... Okay. It's a 4. Okay. I hate to do it, but we'll have to just throw this 6 at it. We need to guarantee the success to get done with this. Okay, there we go. Oh, and we get the random scrap off of that one. Nice. So we can make repairs. So we're going to have to double repair on this turn to not lose that 5th dice. The docking ice is a little more than a shell. Everything that could have been pulled from its interior, every arm not used for docking has been cut away. What remains is a Spartan void with a patchwork of flooring that allows movement. Piles of unusable material are tucked away in corners, but almost everything else has been cleared out. I should have probably flipped this. That's not a big deal. You haven't seen Peter since you last spoke, and now you're realizing that you probably never will. There are plans to be made, escape to plot. The shadow of Hearth to escape. On the cycle the flotilla leaves, these ships will disperse too. The moons and embers spinning out on different orbits. The chaos has become a quiet diligence now, as the time for departure is so near. Crews cross the axis from ship to ship at speed, bringing supplies or advice. Perhaps meeting up to discuss travel vectors in hushed tones, or to debate why they haven't left yet and whether they should. Among the senior crews, recognizable for their specialist clothing and often shorn heads, you see the occasional refugee, a paying passenger, a replacement engineer, a pilot perhaps, come from the eye to seek fortune with the singers. Most of the crews have 2 or 3 of these additions, some more, and you can't help but wish that, whatever reason brings them to throw their lot in with the singer crews, they will have safe passage. You feel a strange attachment to these citizens of the eye, setting out for the first time. And then one of them catches your eye, crossing the axis with the crew, carrying a large bag and a nervous look. Oh my god, it's Tala. She's leaving. Okay, so the only person who isn't leaving at this point is what? Gonna be the Morts and the Yadagen people? Tala, you freeze for a second. What is she doing here? She glances around, feeling your eyes on her, and catches your eye. Her face brightens immediately. Sleeper! Tala mutters something to her crew and rushes over, dumping the large bag at your feet and embracing you without. Good to see you. What are you doing here? Are you leaving? Good to see you. She pulls back. And you, she smiles, but then it quickly fades as she realizes the context in which you are meeting. She sheepishly glances at her bag. Sleeper, she pauses. She pauses again, folding her arms defensively. I'm going to the starboard belt. She waits for your response. Why didn't you say? She sighs. Do you remember me mentioning my family, Sleeper, and my brother? Think back to your growl-blurred conversation in the back of the Bataillon. Came here with me, with my family when we were little, just after we left Chinza. She bites her lip. He left when we were both teenagers, jumped on some spacer crew heading to the starboard belt. She sighs, I'm an idiot. She shakes her head, and I'm going after him. She looks down. Not sure what to do. That makes sense. She looks at you. It does? She laughs nervously. I'm not so sure anymore. I really don't know if it makes sense or if it's the right thing, but ever since I heard that was where the refugee flotilla was going, well, I couldn't stop thinking about it. How did you hear? What happened to the bar? Someone will have to run it. She leaves a long pause. I mean, I can ask Francis? He'd be happy to, or one of the other, she blurts out. And of course, if you're leaving with the flotilla or someone else, it'd be totally okay. You wouldn't need to say yes, it's no pressure. It's fine, whichever way. I was just thinking. I'm not sure. Tala nods. Sure. I mean, I just sprung it on you. She glances at the crew she was walking with, who are chatting a little way away. They're not exactly much time. So considering that, she grabs the keys hanging around her neck, the key to the Bantana. Do you want to do it? Do I want to run her bar? I guess. We go there and cook all the time, so I guess we can do that. Sure. Hal leaps forward and embraces you again. Thank you, Sleeper. I couldn't be leaving it in better hands. She pulls the keys from around her neck and places it around yours as presenting a medal. Remember to lock up, especially the back. Remember to empty the still if you are leaving things closed for a few cycles, and she stops herself. I won't be gone forever, of course. She blinks away a tear. I can come back and check in. Maybe once I find my brother. She pauses, unable to finish that thought. She smiles at you, and you can see the weight lifting off her shoulders, her eyes already drifting towards the crew, the ship, the next big thing. She's ready. I better be going, she nods at the crew. Not a good start to keep my guys waiting. She lifts the bag onto her shoulder. She might be in for a rude awakening. Aren't they not going to the same place as the rest of the flotilla? Alright. She looks down the curve of the eye towards the overlook. Thanks again, Sleeper, for everything you helped me with, she nods. I wouldn't have been able to leave if I hadn't made things work here. She does the bag. Dad wouldn't have let me. Alright, see you around. She nods. Hope so. Then Tala turns, heading back to the crew who will carry her to the starward belt. You watch her go, and despite the departure, it is hard to feel sad about Tala. You know her energy will carry her forward, and you hope her brother is somewhere on that bright path. You hold the key in your hands, the metal still a little warm from Tala's body. You turn it over in your fingers, thinking about how it feels like a tool and a burden. You still look up and leave. You can still lock up and leave, you figure, but now that will feel like breaking something fragile. If we stay, well, who knows what this little metal promise might grow into. I mean, yeah, I guess technically. Alright. Alright, unless we can get 3 more points, that's probably going to be the last of our leveling. I did not expect to run into Talia here, of all people. Alright, so evacuate the eye. Help the Pilgrim Seed. I mean, yes, we have done this thing. Hello? I don't know what's... Maybe we do gotta go finish that other thing for locating the heart of the whatever? I'm just trying to look for something else that could prompt us. I'm just not seeing anything. Crack the facility. Crack the facility. Oh. Find the core of the facility, you'll need the trach path and backdoor entry in the derelict levels below. Oh, okay, so they're saying there's one other thing I need to do. There are powered terminals in the derelict part of the Lord. Accessing them is dangerous, but will be faster than wandering. Yeah, so it looks like there's one other thing I need to do here that isn't just exploring. It's like one further step. Okay. Let's re-roll this and hope for a 4. Thank you. All right. Interface or intuition? I don't remember. Interface, money, intuition is the dice thing, so that doesn't do us any good. All right, so interface it is. Interface. We're gonna crack the facility, team. All right, facility is now cracked. And I think with that, we have now done every task that seems to be available to us this cycle to helping with this. Wait. Oh, okay, I think that was just... Okay, I think that just turned colors because I went over it. Yeah, everything is done? Huh. Interesting. Alright, I guess we'll go buy some food. Yeah, we'll just go buy some food. We'll head back to the house. We'll feed the cat, potentially, for the last time. We'll do some maintenance. We have to do 2, otherwise we'll go down to 4 dice. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's see what happens next. Okay, not a great spread. A 1, a 1, a 5, a 5, and a 4. It's not terrible, it's just not great. Like, obviously these we can turn into 6s at most things now. These we're gonna have to re-roll, or throw them into something safe, like gathering mushrooms, but let's go check and see what's next up on the slate for getting the rest of this ready. Okay. There is nothing going on, and it's concerning. Let's go check on Fang and see if maybe I missed something over there yesterday. I mean, I used the last of my dice, so it's not like I could have done anything to help Fang anyway, but... Oh no, that's our house. Payment supplies. Okay, Fang is just done, it looks like. Tambor treehouse. Nothing. Nothing there. There's nothing going on at our house. Let's go check up here. Like, I want to get Mortz out of here if he's wanting to go. I mean, but Mortz is still here just working, I guess. We're in a capsule. We don't care about that. Huh. It's not prompting me to do anything. I'm really confused. No, that's all just sleep stuff. Briar Space Camp. Am I missing something? Huh. I guess we just wait until something happens and we survive in the meantime. Sue, we'll just go back to our patrol mode here. Actually, I would really like the positive outcome and get another one of these club heads, please. Thank you. Get that started. I can't remember if that's instant or not. Okay, it is. Sweet. Okay, we've got one more of these. Neutral outcome. Okay, fungus field. That's done. We got a couple more food ones there. You can turn these 5s into 6s. Okay, and that's going again. We just keep getting scrap. Okay, I don't know what else to do. We got food for tomorrow, and this will keep us at 5 dice, and I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow. And we sleep. I sleep now. So few of us will get that reference, which is sad. Alright. Ooh, not a great spread here. We got a 6, a 3, a 1, a 3, and a 2. Peak Slate trips in your pocket. You take it out. A message. The connection is ready. Meet me at the Founders Gap, Greenway Side Peak. You clench your jaw. It's time. Okay. Greenway Side. I mean... Ah, it's down here. You find Peak waiting near where you first met, at the entrance of the docking tunnel for the Founders Ferry. They're leaning beside the wall in the flickering light, and you realize how different they look from when you first met. There's a darkness around their eyes, a sense of exhaustion to their pose, but also solidity, a sense of purpose and a self-knowledge. They look concrete for for want of a better word, solid. Sleeper, they spot you and a small smile across their face. Glad you came. Of course. Of course. The break in the connection is up ahead. They walk away from the docking tunnel into a ragged, half-crushed corridor that descends into darkness. They poke their slate and a torch flicks on, lighting the way ahead. As you descend through the layers at the broken edge of the eye, Peak talks, filling in the silence. I had to hunt all over this part of the eye to find the point where the connection was broken. They run a hand along the buckled metal of the wall, stooping under the angled ceiling. This hole, the gap, got knocked in the eye when Solheim collapsed. It's impossible to tell who did it, but my guess is that they tried to scuttle the eye. Solheim couldn't keep hold of their fancy new station. Well, no one could. Peak ducks through a fractured passageway with hanging wires like vines. So this place has always been on borrowed time. Managed to weave together the old connections or run a new patch down to where the main line still runs through the remaining ribs of the rim. They smile, just like keeping those old XPR platforms running. Essie would be proud if she'd bother to help. As Peak goes quiet, the corridor opens out into a wider, twisted passage with the components on either side thick with wiring. Here, this is the connection point. You can see where Peak has leveled off a panel and hooked up a thick cable to the existing hardware. As thick as a tree trunk, it snakes off into the dark ahead, its yellow rings making it look like some huge and exotic serpent. You did all this? Peak nods. It was an interesting challenge, plus it helped me keep my mind off things. Peak smiles a weak smile. There's a lot I'd prefer not to think about. You both stand there staring at the point where the new cable meets the old one, the ends separate, fitted with multi-pin male and female connectors and braced inside a metal framework with a scissoring mechanism. Bringing them together, seal them, and the greenway will be connected to the rest of the eye for the first time in decades. Peak shifts their weight onto one hip, pushing their hair out of their eyes. I feel like this should be more momentous, like there should be some ritual or ceremony. They pause. Or someone should stop us from doing this crazy thing. It isn't crazy. Peak nods. I mean, I'm not being funny, Sleeper, but this whole thing is crazy to me. Peak shakes their head. Leaving Hawthorne with Essie, joining the flotilla, coming here, meeting you, the flux, the shadow, everything. They laugh a hollow laugh, so I suppose this is at least consistent with all that. They take a deep breath. Okay, they look at you with mild panic. They hold both sides of the supporting framework ready to scissor it closed. Here we go. Peak wrenches the framework closed, and the connectors thunk together with a sound that echoes down the ruined corridor into the dark on both sides. Both you and Peak wait with bated breath, unsure what it is you are waiting for. Do you expect the eye to suddenly stop spinning, or lurch on its axis, for the power to go out, or a shockwave to run through the corridors of the rim? You meet Peak's eye, and suddenly they burst out laughing. What are we waiting for? They put a hand to their forehead. I feel like we just planted a tree and expecting it to burst out of the ground. They shake their head. But you feel it. You feel it flowing like a stream that has been released from a cave and rushes out into the sunlight. Crystalline and clear. You swear you can hear it running in the wires, like water, like rain, like steam. It doesn't roar or rattle, but it rustles and rise there, like liquid roots. Peak senses the look in your eyes and stops laughing. You can see it, can't you? You can't see it, not with your eyes at least, but it is everywhere. Now it is out. It can't be put back in. That much is clear. Imagine the rim of the eye like a sponge, like soil soaking up the gardener in their cores. The gaps filling with a burbling, constant growing life. Pecky stares at you, waiting for something, anything. The gardener is free. Something has changed. We're gonna go with the more dramatic, over-the-top gardener is free. Peak nods slowly and closes their eyes. They go to speak, but their words fail them. Suddenly, Peak slaps slate chirps. They jump and scramble for it, almost dropping it in the process, but when they stare at it, look of confusion crosses their face. What happened? Peak's mouth falls open. It's Essie. They swallow. She's leaving. They look at you with panic. Before you can speak, they have turned away and are moving back to the passageway, back towards the entrance. Peak. They don't turn, or don't respond, and you watch their silhouette, lit by their slate's torch, disappear rapidly around a corner. Take out the slate Peak gave you and turn on the torch. The wires are all around, look like pale roots in the harsh light. You turn away from them. They are gardeners now. You work your way back through the corridors, retracing your steps. You imagine Peak, panicked, running towards the corridor and realizing that their greatest fear has come to pass. You wonder if they will be able to persuade Essie to stay. Vasty is going, you think then the flotilla must be leaving too. The thought makes you shiver in the darkness, and you push it away. You're not ready. You focus on avoiding the hanging wires, the low ceilings, and make your way back out into the lit corridors of the Founder's ferry dock. Castor is waiting for you. He holds up his hand. Now, sleeper, no need for fear. He raises his eyebrows. I understand now. It was my mistake to try to force you. Miscalculation. Why are you here? Good. Questions are good. He pushes his glasses up his nose. I'm more than happy to answer any you may have. I won't hold you up, sleeper. Castor stands to the side, but I wish to speak. Listen. You stop, giving Castor his opportunity. Castor nods. At first I thought that, if you'll excuse the turn of phrase, taking possession of your particular talents was the opportunity. He smiles a broad smile. But you're more than that, and I understand that now. You arrive on this station, your ability to touch the network. This makes you very definition of a wild card. He touches the rim of his glasses. Senate stats analysis, my analysis, was we could never have accounted for you. This system, the Helion system, is about to experience a significant change, about to open up to Senate stats, bailiffs, Conway's climates, an event every industry and element an active can channel brings. Yet this very cycle you let another wild card free, Gardner. I have to admit, this development makes me afraid, sleeper. It makes me afraid what an intelligent like this will sacrifice to protect itself. What atrocities it might commit through madness, and yet, Castor's eyes glint, what a compelling object such an intelligence is. Let me protect you, mark you out, keep Sinsat from eliminating by force or illegal expeditionary as they will with every other squatter on this ring. Castor clasp their hands together, and in exchange, when Sinisat comes for this place, you will facilitate the handover. You claim the protocols, you give us the Gardner. And I go free. Castor takes off their glasses and polishes them. You go free. He meets your eye. Do you accept? Continue. You can't even promise. Can you even promise such a thing? Your head swims at the thoughts of controlling Gardner, but also at the idea of I being claimed by a Sinistat. Every person departed and rehoused or worse. I'm not interested in handing over anything to them. Castor takes their glasses and polishes them. Disappointing. You begin to leave. As you approach, he speaks quietly and under urgent whisper. I do not wish to see you lost. You have a great value if ever want to see that realized. You push past, ignoring him, and his voice fades. The last you see of him is his slow nod. Perhaps a mark of resignation or just another deferential gesture aimed at manipulating your response. It doesn't matter either way. You are done with him. You head towards the cordon, Peak and the flotilla in the forefront of your mind. Okay, so we have no active drives right now, which is interesting. Okay, so I guess we're gonna have to make the choice. Now, if my choices are stay here and become a tool of Sinistat, or go start our own life someplace, where we're gonna have to leave. And they were at least smart enough in this one to at least explain how we would have medication to get where we're going and what we're gonna do to keep medication when we get there. They didn't do that with any of the other endings for whatever reason, but at least they were smart enough on this, what it seems like is the fundamentally designed to be ending. So we're gonna choose to go start our new life on the flotilla and not stay here and become a corporate tool. And I don't even mean tool as in like that guy became a tool. I mean a tool as in we're a robot who doesn't have rights. They can 100% just hook me up to anything or point a gun at my face and tell me what to do. I have no rights as long as I'm around people who will treat me in such a way. They will happily do that. So in this case, I will go someplace else. Now, maybe someone else will make a different choice, and that's fine. Maybe their desire to stay on the eye is too strong or whatever. That's a choice. That's fine. But I feel like our character has been attempting to live, and living on the eye was really the only option despite what the other endings told us. But now we have an option that is not living on the eye, and we have reason to leave the eye. You arrive into the chaos at the cordon. The final shuttles are leaving the ramshackle docks that have formed along the edges of the gap during the flotilla's stay. As they do, groups of evacuees push on board, hoping to be among the final people to escape from the eye. The fear created by the Flux event became a series of rumors, and those rumors have driven many out of their homes. Others have staunchly doubled down on their position on the eye, refusing to accept any gossip of a second collapse. You're unsure what to think. Is the collapse a certainty? Will Peak's actions this cycle have changed anything at all? You were tired of these questions, instead set out to look for your friends. You quickly spot Peak and Eshi at the far side of the chaotic bay. You quickly make your way through the crowd, slipping between the gaps in the rushing evacuees, stepping over bags and luggage. Progress is slow, but as you approach, you hear the voices over the crowd. You try to push closer, but there are many evacuees gathered around them and their shuttle. You've made your decision, Peak, and it pushes you against me. And it puts you against me. As she is standing with one foot on the boarding ramp while Peak argues with her, the evacuees are eyeing them, eager to intervene but intimidated by Eshi's evident strength and attitude. Eshi, it doesn't have to be like this. Peak looks desperate, tears tracks already on their cheeks. We can find a way. Eshi shakes her head. I have always protected you, Peak. I have taken you under my wing. But I understand that you are not mine to control, and you have chosen to be here and not with me, despite everything. I've chosen to stop running, Peak cries out in frustration. You could choose to stop running too. We can stay here and try to live. Don't you remember what it feels like to live, Eshi? Eshi turns away. I remember what it was like to live on Hawthorne, what it was like to be worried for your safety every cycle, to live under the control of my mother or of the administration, to work to maintain something that no one wanted, no one needed, so that our corporation could maintain a foothold in this system. You talk as if this place and the very same system is any different. What is there? They're here, but the same grind for other masters, for employers, administrators, for those who gain from our struggles. There may not be a corporation controlling the eye, but there is control, there is power in action here. So what then, Peak shouts. You run from anyone or everyone who could ever chose to be close to you in search of freedom, in search of some perfect place where no one has power over you? Peak is crying openly now. I want to be part of something, Eshi, even if it is broken and suffering, even if it cannot be free. She pauses and takes a deep breath. She nods, her eyes closed. This isn't Hawthorne anymore. We aren't tied by our childhood or by our shared need to escape. We're both just people in this system. She opened her eyes. I release you, Peak. You were free of me. As she pleads, they hold out a hand. There's a life here if you want it. As she turns and smiles at Peak, her eyes wet now too. Then you live it for me, Peak. I can't. She climbs onto the boarding ramp, and the evacuees taking their chance to climb on board too. Watch as the shuttle closes its ramp, lifts off, and leaves the bay. Crowds are dispersing now as they get onto the shuttles or say their goodbyes and move back into the main part of the cordon. You push past the last of them to reach Peak. Peak doesn't turn as you come closer. Sleeper, Essie's gone. She chose to leave. You should probably go too. Becky shakes their head. No, I'm sure now. They look out at the flotilla. This is the way it should be. They turn to face you. I'll miss the Briar, but she'll serve Eshi well. I know that. Sleeper. The shout takes you by surprise. As you turn, you see Sol coming across the bay towards you. The last two shuttles loading up behind him. He reaches you. You see it hissing as he does. Can't believe you'd make an old man run across this bay to get you. He pauses to take a breath. The singers have gone. They left at the start of the cycle. They broke away from the flotilla. You smile as you think of Tala, safely cradled within one of those singer ships on her way to the starboard belt, and hopefully a reunion with her brother. Godspeed, Talia. Okay, that's a very storybook way of thinking about it. What are you smiling at? Sol interrupts your thoughts. They've forced our hand. We have to leave now. Sol shakes his head. If we follow close enough behind, maybe they'll end up being our scouts anyway. I reckon any hostile spacers out there will give them a wide berth. Program C will need a little time to make our way out of the cordon, but I'm heading back now to get her started. Thankfully, the step ships are sticking with us, so we'll be plenty well supplied for the journey to the belt. He pauses. Anyway, I don't plod all the way over here to tell you that. Sol looks between you and Peak with a raised eyebrow. It's now or never, Sleeper. I'm good to my word, and I've kept a berth for you, but this is your last chance to make it. He scratches at his beard. Make a call. Glance out at the flotilla behind the bay. Beautiful in the light of the Hellion sun, you think of the long journey into the starboard belt, of the people inside the Pilgrim Seed, of the possible futures that await. Then you think of the people here on the Eye, of Peak beside you, of the Benetton, of Talia, and the key that she hangs around your neck, of promises and possibilities. I mean, I'm not worried about the bar. I don't care about the bar. The bar is a place. It was a place we helped to build for our friend, and our friend left it. I don't care about the bar. That is not my main concern here. Peak wants to stay, she can stay, but I don't know if she understands the full grasp of what's gonna happen. It's one of those things where the story for this is written like a storybook style, but in reality, none of what they're talking about makes sense with what's actually going on. It reminds me a lot of the, what was it called? The underwater horror module we played, where we were a human sentience inside of a robot in that same way, where they're like, yeah, we got to go to the stars and save our consciousness inside of this spaceship and then launch it into space, so hopefully in the future someone can find us. And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would we do that when you have robot bodies that can live on the surface and then hope to keep alive human society on the planet, even if it is only like 12 personalities copy and pasted over multiple AI robots or something? Why would you fly yourself into space and hope aliens figure out what you are? Like, it doesn't make any sense, you know? And I feel like this is the same thing. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna stay here. The eye's the place for me. And then in like 4 cycles, the evil corporation's gonna show up and have me shot in the head. Or they're gonna actively harvest me and turn me into a non-sapient AI. There's no good outcome for staying on the eye, and then we get our own place and Peak? And I don't understand why Peak is staying here either. Like, they'll have freedom for all of like 5 cycles until this other company shows up. It doesn't make any sense. I'm going to leave. I think we're gonna leave on this one. You open your mouth to speak and realize that this is the final time you will make this choice. You have to be sure. Yeah, I'm leaving. You say the words and they seem to carry your heart out of your mouth with them. You feel lightheaded, spinning as if tumbled out of the bay into the open space. Soul nods. Come on then, let's go. You freeze for a moment, feeling Peak's presence beside you, and the moment you speak. Wait. And then the moment to speak disappears. Good luck, Peak. Peak nods. You too. They manage to squeeze out the words before going silent. And then you walk with Saul across the bay, almost without trying. Oh, the camera's moving. And your step light and your head spinning. Saul grips your hand to help you go onto the shuttle ramp, and as he does, you feel the thick texture of his warm hands in great detail, as if you were touching some cratered landscape. You grip them tightly as you go on board. As the ramp begins to close, you see Peak watching at a distance, their face half covered by their hair. They raise a hand in farewell. As they do, you see something in their expression that you can't quite place. A sense of determination, perhaps, or compressed anger. Something that will drive them forward from this point on to a future you can believe will be better. And then the shuttle ramp closes, and the metal box you are inside rumbles and tilts. Some of the evacuees with you screech at the sudden movement, but they settle as the ship carves its way out of the bay towards the flotilla, towards whatever comes next. When you arrive there, you will find a berth, just as Soul promised, tucked in among hundreds of others like a strange neighborhood of tiny flats. The Camino canteens, the water supply, the farm stacks, those shared spaces will become the center of this new reality. The places where stories are shared, where signals and messages from the ships of the system and the eye itself are interpreted and discussed. You will find yourself unable to resist listening into any conversation about the eye, any scrap of data or detail. This is how you will hear another flux event hit, or no longer after the flotilla left. Wait, what? This is how you will hear that another flux event hit not longer after the flotilla left. One that knocked out the power for the whole free spoke, they say, disconnecting the hub from the rim for many cycles. One that crippled many systems and cost many lives. But the flotilla, having departed with enough time, will outrun the flux, and you and all the evacuees will be thankful for this mercy. You'll also hear of the strange growths that people started reporting around the station in the wake of this event. Fungal crusts that push through pipes and wiring. Rumors of the eye growing wild and fecund will travel quickly around the pilgrim seed, telling the stories of a station of increasingly unpredictability, prone to a seasonal rhythm of spore clouds and sudden growth spurts. As your long journey across the system. Oh, it's nice to see it in its completeness. Wow, so we are only on maybe, what? A quarter of it is what we were basically using? Huh, okay. Let's see. As your long journey across the system becomes a dull routine of the same faces and places, you will delight to overhear that the eye persists despite everything. That crippled systems are rebooted and replaced, that the new seasons of growth and decay bring with them a plentitude of resources and surprises. You will hear that Havengen's hardliners have fizzled out, losing their grip on the Havigen Council. In their way, Kalina will spearhead a series of reforms that will scale back Havigen's overreach, returning them to the caretaker role they have always intended to fulfill. And after a long time, you will find the stories of the Eye become less, the signals and messages fewer, replaced with it instead by a new array of broadcasts, this time from Senate stating legal proceedings and quoting deeds of ownership, taking a claim on the system. These messages will set the rumor mill on the Pilgrim Seed spinning, and you will rarely have a moment when you don't hear mention of that company and its claims. Occasionally on the long trip, you'll make a pilgrimage to the dust houses on a supply shuttle and gather clubheads from among the mulch. We'll talk with the Aki as they are processed into stabilizer, and hear how the plants are changing, adapting, becoming even ever intertwined in this new and unprecedented ecosystem. And then in your final part of the journey, as you reach the far parts of the system where few signals travel, and the starboard belt girds the system like a defensive ring, there will be distant reports of another fleet entering the system, under the banner of the all-too-familiar Conway extractions. By the time this happens, you and the evacuees will begin to discuss these events less and less, perhaps in the hope of avoiding being implicated in the coming corporate war. Finally, one cycle, far from this moment, you will arrive at an asteroid port in the starboard belt, one you have yet to know, and you and all the evacuees will be released into it. In that moment, half a system and hundreds of cycles away from the Eye, you will think back on your time there with equal sadness and fondness. And then you will step out on the Pilgrim Seed, never to return, and once more try to make a future for yourself that might be different to those false futures promised to you so many times. But for now, you remain on the shuttle, aligning its way towards the bays of the Pilgrim Seed, carrying the hopes of all who tremble quietly within it. And that moment you feel the Eye release you, just as the Eshi released Peak, and it feels so good. And it feels so good. Alright. Okay, so I would say, if I had to guess, that's probably the canonical ending, given that they actually explained how we were getting our medication that we actively needed to not die. Whereas all the other ones were just like, well, you go off into your future. Except for the one where we would have gone on the Sullen Horizon or whatever. That one actively was very, very sad. That one very much felt like the obvious but bad one. That was very sad to me. But I think this one seems fine. I think I would have preferred that the guy we were working with, Lum and Meanie, I think was who they were. I think I would have preferred those two coming with me on this over going on to that other ship. Maybe there's a different ending where if I would have never bothered to get things ready for them for that other ship, they would have come with me on this and it would have been better for them. I don't know. I don't know how much of this they had planned with the DLC interacting with the other characters, you know. But this also kind of felt like the more canonical ending, as it felt like it grabbed a lot of characters that we knew and handed us endings that they hadn't gotten otherwise. Okay, I want to see what the other option, if there's anything left for us to do when we get back. Because we're basically done with the stream for tonight. Okay, so I'm assuming we're just... Is there... Okay, so yeah, and then it's just Peak. Clear Spacer. So then I guess it's just the other option is we just stay. Okay, it's the Cordon. We already know what they're talking about. Leaves the bay. Oh, like Pete nods. I know her. I've known her my whole life. Libra, she's gone. Beast nods. I know her my whole life. They wiped their face, but since we arrived, we've been going different directions. Turn to face you. I miss the Briar, but she'll serve as she's well. Broke. Birth. I have to make my decision. Okay, so this time we stay. You open your mouth to speak and realize that this is the final time you will make this choice. You have to be sure. I'm staying. You say the words, and the moment you do, the weight of all this seems to descend on you. You stumble a little and then stand straight, refusing to be crushed. You feel a tightness in your chest and a haze blurring your thoughts. Zol nods. Good luck, he sighs. You'll need it. He grips your shoulder and meets your eye. In the haze, he is pitted and rough, and hands feel so real, so detailed that it grounds you. And it's gone, and Zol goes with it, quickly moving to the waiting shuttle. As he does, you watch, unable to speak, your whole body pulsing. And then another hand falls on your shoulder, and it grounds you once more. You turn to see Peak's bright eyes. Let's go, sleeper. You nod, and seeing how unsteady you are on your feet, Peak puts an arm around you and steers you towards the entrance to the bay. As they do, you hear the roar, feel the wind as the shuttle lifts off and the angles towards the flotilla. You don't turn, instead you keep your head down and focus on each step. As you do, you feel Peak beside you, holding a little of your weight and holding a little of theirs. This is how it will be for many cycles after both leave the bay and head back into the eye. You will both hold things for each other, remind each other of choices you made, remind each other why it is important to keep going despite the moments when it seems impossible. You will keep each other going. That support will be vital when the second flux event hits the eye, when it knocks the entire free spoke off the power grid, making the whole station lurch with a sickening motion, when it cripples systems and corrupts processes, leading sections of the station to go dark or start venting oxygen, when holding on is all you can do while the world seems to come apart around you. And yet somehow the eye will persist. Systems will resist total collapse in ways that will seem inexplicable to many, but to you and Peak they will signal the awakening of a new force within the station. The new force will bring with it new challenges and new possibilities in equal measures. Strange growths will be reported all around the station. In the wake of the flux event, fungal crusts pushing through pipes and wiring. The eye will go wild and fecund, becoming a station of increasing unpredictability, prone to seasonal rhythm of spore clouds and sudden growth spurts. There will be strange and unsettling beauty to this paradigm shift as the greening of the station turns it from a corporate ruin to some altogether new assemblage of biological and mechanical structures. Riku will take on this challenge with energy that seems impossible for her age, and until her final day, she will delight in new mysteries of the eye and its Gardner producer. It's Gardner produce. Okay. Again, a little bit of an odd sentence. And this is the new era consolidates around the station. You will find yourself in the Bethlehem most cycles, working to keep the place alive. Cycles where you invite Infist to come make use of the kitchen will go from a one-off event to a regular occurrence, and soon the Bethlehem will be filled with spacers eager to try the best preparations of the station's now abundant mushrooms. Oh, that's cool that we invited him to come to the bar with us. We didn't really get anything for him on the other one, so I wasn't sure if we were going to get any more from him, but that's cool. And on occasion, after a long shift to the Batellion, you will hear the sounds of the stray meowing, and you will crumple up some food and sit and watch the cat eat as if it's the only thing in the world that matters. Well, that's nice. However, into all the newness, the bad old ways still enshrined. Sinistat, frustrated by the eye's resilience, will begin to send more physical threats, and supply ships and traders will suddenly stop arriving, stopped by a blockade of corporate militia. Life on the eye will be punctuated by wild channel broadcasts from Sinistat stating legal precedents and quoting deeds of ownership, taking a claim on the system. Meanwhile, Havigen hardliners will fizzle out, losing their grip on the Havigen Council. In their wake, Helena will spearhead a series of reforms that will scale back Havigen's overreach, bringing them the caretaker role they had always intended to fulfill. As the cycles roll on and the threats gather, new broadcasts will join them, sent by Conway Extractions, making counterclaims on assets within the Hellion system. And many of the eyes will grow quiet, losing their appetite for debating these political machinations as they tilt inexorably towards a corporate war. And ever on the eye will spin, growing now in strange ways, haunted by strange new growths and hosting cultures of increasing resilience. As the Hellion system descends into crisis, you will find comfort in the fungal patterns, the familiar conversations, the spices and smells that will accumulate around you as your body continues its unavoidable decay. They settle around you like a veil. In time, it will be impossible to see the eye without seeing its many variants and versions, past and potential futures, and this making of the world will mark your approaching end. At one cycle far from now, that accumulation of memories, of tastes, of people and places and moments will be the last thing you let go of. But for now, there's only you and Peak, arms around each other, walking slowly out of the bay. Two figures born of crippled systems linked together, continuing despite your origins. And in this moment, frozen moment, you focus on only the next step, because that is the only way you have learned to persist. And to persist is to believe that a future, any future at all, is possible. Okay, interesting. So it seems like they came and tried to take over the station and no one cared. And then someone else, another corporation showed up and they're going to go to a war, but not really bother the Eye. Also, it's interesting that when our character says that their unit is going to break down beyond because of decay and die or whatever, that's not really the end of it, right? Like, technically, we could just go and have the gardener put us back into the chorus. And our memories could live on, technically, I think, forever. That ending was a little vague on whether we got to remain as ourselves or we only became part of the machine and lost all of our individuality. It seemed like it went away, but I don't know for sure. Well, there we go. The last two... The last two endings. I think we got most of the other endings. If there's more endings than that, I'm not sure what the other ones are. The only other one I could think of that we technically didn't do was we didn't leave with that one lady with Bliss. We didn't leave with Bliss and the mercenary lady on that. We just decided to stay, and we didn't get that ending where we go with them, so. But I think otherwise we've seen all the other endings at this point. So, yeah. I would have liked to gotten a little bit of a word about Mortz to see what happened with him. That would have been nice. Because basically once Bliss leaves, that's it. There's no other mentions of Mortz and what happened to him or anything. Oh, okay. Here's the description for the second one. Okay, step into the body of a new sleeper on the run in the Starward Belt as they try to build a crew, take on contracts, and find a future. Okay, so in the next one, we are playing as a new, different sleeper. We're not playing as the same one, just, you know, in the next stage of our existence or whatever. All right, well, there we go, team. That's it. That's like all the endings. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a lot of fun in that it was interesting to see where things went, and I think it has a really interesting look at the world, obviously condensed into like one smallish space station, it seems like. I think there was a little bit of, and this could have been because of the origin we chose, but there was some kind of passiveness to our character that I felt was a little over the top. And a little too much like hand waving of like, yeah, don't worry about that thing you already did that would make you aware of what's going on. Don't worry about that. We're just going to, for this story, you're starting like here where you haven't met these three people and you don't know, you couldn't go talk to them. So we'll just go from there. Right. I think there was just a little too much of that for my preference of let's just ignore all this story stuff we put in this other story. Because even though your character should know the top head of the Yakuza or like the organized crime family / protectors in this place, we're just going to pretend you don't because that would really undermine this whole other thing going on over here. So because we want to tell two separate stories, we're going to pretend your character doesn't remember they're friends with, you know, a master level hacker or a guy from an evil corporation. Like, it's a little too much individual storytelling for one character. It would be the equivalent if we're watching a movie, right? Or a show, I guess. And in one episode, your character meets a car dealer, right? Someone who sells cars. And then the next episode, they run into a character who's like, yeah, I've never really been able to buy a car because I get too nervous talking to people who, like, car dealers. And the main character being like, yeah, I don't know any car dealers, so I can't help you with that, sorry. Even though that episode before they met and were friends with a car dealer, it's kind of like that. Which I find to be a flaw, but I know some people prefer that kind of independent storytelling per episode sort of thing. It's not my preference. All the lurkers, of course, thank you. You have the Twitch roll go around. We always appreciate you. Anybody who checks the VODs here on Twitch or checks the VODs on the YouTube repository, thank you. It's greatly appreciated. Seeing those numbers help keep me motivated. If you need a well thought out solution, you need a thinking solution. Raven Hilberg Inc. Thinking Solutions. And I think that'll be it. Yeah. Bye.